Well, good morning once again, Friendship Village. You are listening to the voice of Friendship Village. My name is Phil Porter, and I'm joined today once again with my very capable co-host, Mary Craven. And we have a special guest today, as we hopefully do every time we get together. And so we're going to not divulge who that is just yet, because I want to take the opportunity to talk about the fact that this episode of The Voice of Friendship Village is being brought to you by the maintenance crew in all of our buildings, all of our locations. So we just think they do such a bang-up job for us, and we appreciate their dedication and long hours of work. And we appreciate the fact that if we call in and leave a work order at the front desk, that it's going to be taken care of and done well. So our hats go off to you in the maintenance crew, and we thank you for your prompt attention to our needs. And so, as I was saying, we appreciate all the good work that's done for us by the maintenance crew. Now, Mary, do you have any recent examples of how the maintenance people have come to your assistance?
Not particularly in my apartment, but one day I was walking down the hall in the evening, and one of the lights were out in the hallway. So I called down and told them that one of the fluorescents was out, and in a day or two, they were up there to replace the bulbs. So no matter what kind of a problem you have, you call the desk, put in a work order, and they're right on it. They just check those work orders, and even if they're busy outside with mowing, and yesterday, two of them were down here on their hands and knees on the ground, pulling weeds out of the bushes and flowers. So you catch them doing everything to keep our place looking nice. I really, really appreciate the indoor and outdoor maintenance crews.
Okay, great. So thanks, maintenance crew. And listen, before we go any further, I'd like to just share us a joke, if we don't mind. You don't mind, do you, Mr. Guest? No, she doesn't mind. Okay. Well, just imagine for a moment. Put on your imagining hat here. Imagine how scary it must have been setting off from home in the olden days. Knowing that if something went wrong, you could be completely stranded with no way to call for help. Boy, those people who lived in the 80s before cell phones, they were surely brave. Yeah, okay. All right. The other thing I wanted to just share, just for our edification, I guess you'd say, we like to inspire and educate as we go along. So from one of the Reminisce magazines, I got some facts here about some things that came into our society in the year 1960. Now, just before we go on, just think for a moment, how old were you in 1960? And probably, what were you doing? Were you, I guess most were probably grown adults, and maybe not our guest yet. Yeah, no, not yet. Okay. Yeah. Oh my. Okay. So anyway, 1960 was the first year for a crazy dance that took America by the storm because of Chubby Checker.
Oh, I loved him.
The twist.
I love Chubby Checker. Everybody did the twist.
Everybody. It was the main thing. You might also be interested to learn that in the year 1960, the Ohio Art Company introduced Etch-a-Sketch. I've had.
Yeah, the children. We bought it for our kids.
Yeah, that's right. So, just to kind of complete this little segment here, the Merriam-Webster dictionary adds these words to the dictionary in 1960. I won't give them all to you, but here's a sample of some new words from 1960. Doofus. Doofus, meaning a foolish, kind of, stupid or incompetent person. Okay. Another one is Dullsville. The beatniks, if they weren't excited, they would say, "Hey, it's Dullsville." Yeah. Okay. Dullsville and mayo, mayonnaise, came into being in 1960, and it said the country was kind of really getting into convenience cooking, so mayonnaise fit right in there. And the other thing that I thought was important and interesting was the fact that in 1960 the Peace Corps came into being.
Lyndon Johnson that was responsible for
John F. Kennedy.
Oh, John F.
Senator.
Kennedy.
Senator, before he was a president.
All right, Senator Kennedy, and then I think it carried on through Lyndon Johnson.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, it did continue. Is it still around, I wonder?
Oh, I bet it is. I think
Peace
so.
Corps? Yeah.
Yeah.
So it just says here a little note about Peace Corps. It says John F. Kennedy envisioned talented men and women from the United States using their skills to help in developing countries. So our hats off to Senator and then President John F. Kennedy. Thank you. Before we go on, let's all do the twist. Oh,
Yeah. Wish we had background music for that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, now I think it's time for our guest, don't
I
you,
do too.
Mary?
We've kept people in suspense long enough.
All right.
All
Okay.
right. Our guest today is a very nice lady who lives in a duplex over on the Park Village Lane side. Her name is Patti Pint, or Patricia, but I think she likes Patti. And we've invited her over to be our guest today and find out some things about her that people probably don't know. First, we'll ask her where she was born and raised.
Well, I was born in Waterloo, but I grew up in Elkhorn Heights. When we moved there, when I was about 5 years old.
That's just close by, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, it's on the other side of Evansdale. So there's Waterloo,
Okay.
Evansdale, and then Elkhorn, then Gilbertville, and
All the
Okay.
little-
so far out.
Right.
Yeah.
And you went to school.
At St. Nick's in Evansdale. Then I went to Columbus and graduated in 1970 from there.
Okay.
Okay. And then you got a job right away out of school.
Yes, I went to John Deere.
Okay.
I figured as long as my father and my uncles and my brother already worked there, that I should go there too. So
That's right.
I spent 30 years there and retired in
Wow.
2005.
And in between times, you did get to go to college.
I did go to college. John Deere's offered a tuition assistance program, so they paid 2/3 of the tuition for me.
Wow.
So it took a little bit longer than 4 years. It took me 8 years, in fact, because every time I registered for classes, Deere's would change my shift, and then I couldn't go.
Oh.
Oh.
Yeah, I know. But then eventually I find it ended up on third shift, so then half the time I was working asleep, but that's okay. But I finished and I graduated from there in 1996.
Okay. So what kind of work did you do at Deere? Or, Deere?
I worked out in the plant and sometimes in the foundry. I ran some.
Wow, you're talking.
I ran some
tough work.
machines. Yeah,
Yeah.
I did. Yeah, some machines. I ran some NC drills, which the program runs off a computer and
Yeah.
drills certain parts of the part you're running, like the air hose and things. And then I ran a CNC where we machined the axles.
Okay.
So, and then towards the end I got lazy and I started driving fork truck. I didn't want to work anymore.
Well,
Hard.
When you mentioned Deere, one of the names that come to mind is Frank.
Frank.
Alexander?
Alexander, yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
We've
he's
talked
an
a few
old dude.
times.
Yeah, I
Yep.
bet. You shared some stories probably.
Oh, yeah.
And were there very many women at that time working?
There were in the beginning until that big layoff they had in the 80s. Then a lot of the women didn't come back after that because we were out. I was out 3 years at that time, and then I worked down at the courthouse in
Okay.
the auditor's office.
Okay.
Okay.
But when Deere's called, I went back, which
Right.
I'm glad I did because
Right.
I have a pretty good pension and
What you say? They have a good retirement plan. They have
And,
all kinds of good stuff.
yeah, I'm in a good
Uh-huh.
a lot of benefits.
Did you have a house here in Waterloo?
Yes, I had one up from the Port Road, up from where McDonald's
Oh, yeah.
is, just around Crossroad area.
Okay.
Yep.
And
Okay.
you, what made you decide to come to Friendship Village?
I went. A friend of mine dragged me to one of the seminars they had at the Elks Club, and so when I listened to that, I thought, I'm single, so I'm getting kind of tired by then of trying to keep the house up and do all the yard work and the snow blowing and everything. So I thought this would be a good idea.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Especially after I learned about the life care, I thought, that'd be perfect.
Now the friend who dragged you to the meetings, did that person come too?
No.
Oh.
No. She's still married and her husband does not want to move here yet.
Okay. All right.
But didn't have to take long to convince me.
How about your family then? You tell us about your family.
My parents got married the year before I was born, but they met at Electric Park at one of the dances there.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yep. My dad grew up in Gilbertville, and my mom grew up here in Waterloo. So I don't know how they got together, but they did. And so I have 3 brothers. There's Ron, who's a year younger than I am, and he still wants to live in his own house, but
Yeah.
I keep telling him he should move here. And then there's Ray, he's 59, and John is 52.
okay.
So
You're the oldest.
I'm
of
the
the
oldest.
bunch. Okay.
Yep, with 3 younger brothers.
So they all
So
have to
I'm-
respect you.
Oh, well, sometimes.
Well, they look to you for advice.
A lot of times, yeah. My
Yeah.
parents are both gone now. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So it wasn't too hard to decide to move here then.
No.
And you haven't been here too long, have you?
I moved here in August of 2019.
Yeah.
Just before the new build started.
Right.
Oh.
Right.
Did you know it was going to happen before you moved here?
Well, they told me they were going to do the new build, but I didn't realize it was going to be quite a ride. I guess is the way I
Okay.
want to put it. It's been an adventure.
Yeah.
Yeah, you live right in the middle.
Right
of
in
it.
the middle of it. Yeah. I never thought it would ever get done, but it's close to being
It's
done
coming
now.
to an end.
Are you thinking about maybe moving into the new?
No, I like the duplex.
Okay.
Yeah, I do.
All right.
And they
So-
have now put a patio in your back, haven't
Yes,
they?
they put patios behind all the duplexes.
Yes, so that
Which
was
is
an addition.
Really nice. Yes,
Yeah.
because our backyard faces a street over with houses, but the backyard is pretty big. So there's quite a bit of privacy.
What's your favorite thing about living here?
I think since I'm single and I do have kind of a social life, but I like being around more people and having different kinds of activities to do. You know, there's always something to do here.
And you took on a really nice project with taking pictures.
Oh yeah, since I'm right in front of the construction zone, as sometimes we call it a war zone, but with all the holes they dig sometimes. But yes, I've taken pictures from day one. I have probably over 200 pictures taken.
And you have posted a lot of them in the building.
And Jamie, in marketing, has posted quite a few on some of the brochures that
Right.
they've handed out advertising it.
Yeah.
And there's quite a few on Facebook.
When you go out your front door, what do you see then? You see.
I see part of the apartment building, and then part of the medical center, and then I'm
Oh.
right next door to the 2-story.
Okay.
So I just have to walk across the street, and I'd be inside to take advantage of everything. So
Sure. Okay.
And you can still see the lake, too.
yes, and I can still see part of the lake. Yeah,
Part of the lake.
part of the lake,
And
but
some
I
of
can
the
still
geese.
part of it. Yeah,
I understand they've built a little walkway all
there's
the
a
way
walkway around. Yeah,
Big
because
circle.
supposedly it's supposed to be for we can get out and exercise again. You know,
Okay.
at least walk where it's safe.
Okay.
Yeah,
So maybe 3 times around might be a mile, or 4 times.
maybe 4 times around, maybe.
Okay.
And you've also learned another very important feature. You have taken some CPR training and you put it into use a couple times. Tell us about that.
A couple times. Well, when I first graduated high school, I did work at the old Schoitz Hospital for a year or 2, and that was about the time my youngest brother was born, and he was pretty sickly when he was young. He was always getting respiratory infections. You know, his fever would spike like to 104 or so, and out to the hospital we'd go, and they'd put him on like an ice blanket back then to bring his temperature down. But one day his temp spiked to 106.
Wow.
And he started going into convulsions, and then all of a sudden he just fell over on the couch, and I thought, oh shoot. my mom didn't know what to do either, so the only thing I could think of was to do CPR. I did mouth to mouth on him, which was kind of interesting, on the kitchen counter,
Yeah. Oh.
because he was only like 3 years old, and so he did come around, and we got him out to the hospital, and he's fine. Now you wouldn't know he was so sick. He's a pretty big guy, but he is my brother, so that's a good thing.
You bet.
He's still here.
You bet.
Does he have any recollection of what happened?
Nope, he doesn't
No.
remember at all. Mm-mm.
Okay.
That's the only time it ever had to be done.
Only time, yes, for him.
For
Yes,
him. For
yes,
him, yes.
Okay.
yeah. And then when I was at Deers, I got a chance to do it again, because one of the employees passed out while he was punching into work, and I saw him fall to the floor. And when I got over to him and I rolled him over onto his back, his face was, if you can remember the Smurfs cartoon, how blue they were.
Blue. Yeah.
Yeah, his face from his neck up was completely blue,
Oh.
and he wasn't breathing or anything. And so another employee knelt down next to me, and we started CPR on him, and he didn't come around, And then we were relieved by a couple other employees that were part-time firefighters, and so they took over for us until the ambulance got there. And then we didn't know if he lived or died until the next morning when we went back to work. And they said he had just had a major artery blockage in his heart. So, he did his rehab, and he came back to work and got his 30 years in.
Oh, great.
And he's become a lifelong friend, right?
Oh yes, his wife sends us a thank you card every year on that date, thanking us.
Oh,
She can't thank us enough.
Wow, that's neat.
Because without her husband, her kids probably would have never went to college or anything.
Right.
Yeah.
Hey, you're a hero.
Yeah. Twice over, I guess.
We have a lot of heroes, unsung heroes in our midst.
Yeah.
Right.
But,
Hey, let me interrupt for just a minute, and we'll finish some more of this interesting interview with Patti. But first, we want to just remind ourselves that this edition of the podcast is being brought to you by the maintenance department at Friendship Village. And once again, we just take our hats off to the good work they do for us, and their friendly smiles, and being prompt to get at to fix whatever is broken, and to do it in a good job. So we thank you guys for that. And we thank Rosie. We don't want to leave Rosie out. She's part of that maintenance crew, and this Rosie can do a lot of things, right? You had a sample of that.
Oh yeah. It was just before COVID came, but my kitchen sink kept backing up, and I couldn't figure out why. So I called her. She comes over and she says, "Well, have you been running the disposal?" And I says, "Well, no, I don't need the garbage disposal for anything." And she says, "Well, you need to run that periodically to keep the blades from jamming up or freezing up, because that prevents the water from flowing through there." Then
Okay.
And I thought, well, I didn't know that. So yeah, a couple of things underneath the sink, and it was working again.
Well, that's the first time I've ever heard of that.
Yeah, I
Of
never
course,
knew
I
that
use
either.
mine. I use
You
mine
use yours.
regular.
Yeah.
And they say run lots of hot water down there.
Mhm.
Lots of hot water.
Yeah, but that's all you need to do is just run
Yes,
that.
I don't use mine a whole lot either, but I try to remember
To
to
do
run
that
it.
once
And I
in a
know
while.
our cleaning ladies, when they clean the sink, they run it.
Mhm.
They go through and do the disposal.
Okay.
I've heard them do that, so
Right.
that's good. They're aware of that trick to do.
necessity. Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, well, for all you good listeners out there, here's just another example of how this program can just set you on the right course.
Right. We learn a lot of facts,
You
tips.
learned about the old garbage disposal unit today from Patti Pint. And say, if anyone out there is interested at all in becoming a guest on our program, we would invite you to take it a step further and go to the reception area of the building you live in and let them know about it, and they'll be in touch with us, and we'll get you on the schedule. So far we've had some very interesting guests on our program.
Yes, we have.
And,
Yes, we have.
and we know there's more interesting people out there who maybe would like to share more about their life. So, well, anyway, let's get back to Patti. Patti, let's see. You're a hero and just an all-around good person, and
And you also belong to the book club.
Yes. I haven't read but a couple books since I've been here, but
Hmm.
yeah, I plan on
They
doing that.
say it's a
kind-
really interesting thing to do.
It is, yeah, because
Yeah.
it's just a small group of people. We just sit around and talk about some of the discussion questions.
And are both buildings combined doing that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's good. I have a couple little sayings about reading books. That's why I
Okay.
brought that up.
well, let's hear
Let's
it.
hear 'em.
Reading is to the mind as exercise is to the body.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah.
So if you read and you can't exercise your body, you're exercising your mind.
True.
And if you exercise your body, that helps too.
Okay.
Another one, a room without books is like a body without a soul.
Ooh.
Ooh,
I got plenty of books.
That's pretty deep.
Yeah.
Let's see. It said
Room without books
book is like
a body without a soul.
Wow.
So
Okay.
we've got to have books. Or magazines or papers, anything
Something
that you can
that's
read.
printed.
Printed,
yeah.
printed
Yep.
material.
Right.
A lot of people don't care to read books, but they say, I read a lot of magazines. And that's good.
That's good.
And I know they read the papers here. People can hardly wait to go to the different areas that
Yeah.
the papers are delivered to so they can sit and read the papers. And it's a wonderful service that Friendship Village has provided for the residents, because not everybody can afford to pay for a subscription to a paper, but they want to read it.
Mhm.
And that's something that they really enjoy doing. So,
Speaking of reading and writing, I understand that Patty, your time here has brought out some new talents that you didn't exactly
I didn't know about.
Were they just dormant before you came here?
I guess so.
Okay.
Because I guess I've been trying to write some poetry,
Okay.
and I do just whatever trips my trigger. Some are kind of deep and meaningful, and some are kind of fun, like the acrostic poems I've been doing for some people, where you take like their name and you use the first letter of their name for each line.
Okay.
And make it rhyme and talk about what they're like,
Mm-hmm.
and they're kind of short and sweet, but they're kind of fun.
Okay. Well, neat. Wow. Hidden talent.
Everybody has a hidden talent,
Yeah.
and it either you or find it yourself, or somebody else might bring it to the surface. I've come across many people in my many years with a lot of talents, and that's really fun to bring a talent out like that and learn from it.
Mm-hmm.
Another way of reading.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
So if you don't go to school and take reading, you're lost.
Right.
It's the most important thing in school. Math is important, science is important, but reading has a bearing on all of those other subjects.
That's true.
That's true.
Yeah, because you can't watch TV and learn everything from TV.
No.
No.
Yeah.
Second cousin, Jackie Dolan and I are related.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Her grandfather and my great grandfather were brothers. She walked up to me the first day when we did the when you meet new residents.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and she looked at my name tag and she says, "Well, you're a Pint," and I says, "Yeah, that's what it says." And she says, "Well, so am I." And I thought, oh gosh.
Oh.
So that was kind of fun to learn.
Yeah, to run onto a relative where you live.
Yeah.
Here's a little word of wisdom about how to conduct our lives, I'd say. Okay. People who do things that really count never stop to count them.
True, that's
it.
true.
That's true.
Okay. Here's another one about becoming more of a senior citizen. I guess we're all senior citizens in this room. So it says, the older we get, the fewer things are worth standing in line for.
That's true.
That's true.
Who wants to stand in line anymore?
Anymore.
Some people are not able to stand in line or whatever, but it's not that important.
But you can still twist, can't you?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Oh, yeah, I can twist.
All right.
I know.
Okay. We're making a little spoof with Mary because her left hand is in a cast, but that won't stop your dancing.
No.
No. Heavens,
No.
Okay. Well, listen, we are about at the end, I should say, of our time with Patty, and it's been an enjoyable time. We thank you for coming.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. What an interesting life.
Yes, I've enjoyed listening to her. I knew we'd find some things.
Yeah.
Yeah, we usually do. We dig in pretty good and find a lot of
So-
interesting things about people, whether they were born and raised in this area or another area.
Yeah.
You know, we want to
Yeah.
bring them all together here at Friendship Village and find out about them. We're a very diverse group.
I guess we're done, and we'll just close with this thought once again. May the good Lord bless and keep you until we meet once again. Bye for now.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.